All right, we are live at Chance's house, and this is season 1, episode 4, doing the interview with Mr. Devin Pike. Devin, how are you, man?
Are you recording this? Are you a cop? You have to tell me legally if you're a cop.
Not a cop.
That's just what a cop would say.
So I was going to model this a little bit after my first interview. I don't know if you got to see it or not, but I interviewed Rob last week. And we talked a little bit about our COVID cuts. First of all, he hasn't gotten one. I've gotten one, and it's a little rough. I would say, how's your COVID cut? But thinking that it's not so much about it being a COVID cut at this point.
The great thing is that when people see it and they don't know the full story, it's like, oh my God, you took that thing to the extreme. You just like, hey, you went Britney Spears on it. And I said, yeah, but it's more by necessity than anything else.
So what Live at Chance's house is all about, which you kind of know already. I mean, it's about, it started off with me just playing, and then ultimately it's turned into something else. I'm doing some interviews and I'm talking about music, but that's what the whole point is talking about music. And I thought we'd start off by, talking about some of the things that you're listening to. I did have a question I'm going to start off the interview with, and then we're going to wrap it up and talk a little bit about who needs sleep. All right. So, hey, me being a novice interviewer and not something that I normally do, you do this all the time. We're talking about cons, we're talking about panels, wherever it may be. What would you say that your interview style is, and how do you generate the questions beforehand? Just give me a little synopsis of what you do in your mindset.
The process that I have, it's pretty much the same for whatever I'm doing, whether it's a conversation for print or broadcast or live panels or Q&As for film festivals or whatever. My process is, what do I want to know specifically? There's the same 20, 25 questions that each actor, director, writer, musician, it's the same 25 questions all over the globe, no matter what. My process is lead with something that shows the person you're talking to that it's actually a conversation and you didn't just look them up on Wikipedia 5 minutes ago before you start, and that breaks down their wall a little bit. Then you can ask the questions, and not necessarily in the same way, but something that tells them that it's a one-on-one conversation with the guest, not just, I'm just waiting till you stop talking before I ask my next question. And that allows you to also have a good rapport with the guest, number one, but number two, it leads to follow-up questions. And, hey, you said this, and I'm going to file that away back here, because when you're done answering that question, I may go down that tangent, or I may save it for later.
That makes sense. I mean, this is a little bit easier because I know Rob personally. I know you personally. So I don't have to start off with, the so-called rapport, because we've already got it. But this is helpful because I've got a couple of bands I'm going to be doing here very soon. I met some really nice people on Instagram just promoting my own music, and run into a band out of Kentucky. I ran into a band out of California, and they're both interested and they want to come on. So that's good to know. I've got a little bit of rapport with them, but it's a handful of questions through Instagram direct message. It's not like I know these people. So that's good. That's good advice, and I appreciate it. So
something else when you're getting ready to talk to those bands is, as a musician yourself, you know what the process is. You know what the creative process is, the recording process, how your process differs from them, what their motivations were to put those songs to paper and then to tape and then to video. That's where everybody differs. And the trick for you in those conversations is, here's where our common ground is. I understand what you're doing because I've done it too. What I want to know is, how did you start doing it? What motivates you to do it now? How is it different from when you started? Things like that. Satisfy your own curiosity about the creative process, and that makes for a better interview. And I think that, knowing what I know about Live from Chance's house, that tells me that it'll be a richer conversation in the long run.
That's great advice. I appreciate that. Speaking of Live at Chance's house, tonight's sponsor is Joe's Tavern and Grill.
Joe's Tavern and Grill? They owe me money.
I think they owe us all money. What's funny is that this brings up an interesting segue in the fact that you run a little show. It's getting some traction. It's a lot of fun. Universal Remote. Find it.
Yep.
Universal Remote TV. Also sponsored by Joe's Tavern and Grill.
Yes, sir.
Talk to me about Universal Remote. What's that all about?
Universal Remote is it's the progression from me loving game shows from when I was a kid. And that was the era of daytime television was not Judge Judy and 18,000 shows of You Are Not the Father and all that. It was all game shows or soap operas, one or the two. And once the soap operas ended, the game shows kicked in. And if you remember the MTV game show Remote Control, where you saw Ken Ober sitting on the rug as a kid, and he loved that, and now he made his own game show. That's what me and my cohorts at Bacon Samurai did. Was we started off 5 years ago this week, as a matter of fact, doing a live version of Remote Control as a tribute to that show, but also as a fully functional quiz show along with it. And we did it live at a couple of large parties. We started doing it at sci-fi conventions, and we would gear the questions to that group of people. And as time went on, the cease and desist letter came from Viacom. Never mind that Viacom through MTV doesn't give a damn about Remote Control as intellectual property. They just don't want anybody else doing it either. And even though Ken Ober's brother, Ken, passed away 7 years ago, even though Ken's brother gave us blessing to do the show, which was great. It just, you approached me out of the blue and said, I hear you're doing this thing. I love what you're doing. And that, but Viacom's lawyers are not Ken's brother. So they said, yeah, you can't use Remote Control as any kind of a service mark. So we created Universal Remote to carry on the game show. So flash forward to the lockdown in mid-March. I'm sitting around my apartment. I can't go anywhere. I literally cannot go anywhere. And I'm trying to come up with things to occupy myself. And I'd been doing live streaming production for people for a couple of years. And then I looked at it and said, I just 2 weeks ago, just out of circumstance, got this new high-def webcam. I think I'm going to use it. So for a couple of weeks, I was tweaking. I was using different pieces of software, using old questions through Universal Remote files, because I keep everything. I'm a digital pack rat. And I looked back through the Google Docs and I said, I'm going to try this with a whole new way of playing it, where people are answering in the chat window instead of being able to, read everybody's card, or they buzz in, whatever. And that's where Universal Remote's current incarnation came from. It's quarantine based. We're all sitting around the house doing nothing, so we might as well have fun while we're doing it.
Absolutely, and it's been a lot of fun. Give me a quick plug, because I always screw up the days and times.
Monday and Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Central, which is 10 Eastern and 7 Pacific. You can go to our Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/thatdevinguy. YouTube, we play there as well at the same time. The link changes, but you can always find the current link at universalremote.tv.
Absolutely. So it works out pretty good, because I'm doing mine at 7 o'clock. So live at Chance's house is on Thursdays at 7, and sometimes Sundays. Just depends on my work schedule when I get out or not. But you can come over, get some live music, and then go win the internet with Devin Pike at universalremote.tv. So let's talk music. What are you listening to right now? What's on your radar?
It depends on what I'm doing. If I'm writing or I'm working, because there are a couple of different jobs that I'm doing in the lockdown, and it's all home-based. I'm doing web development. I'm producing streaming events for other companies. And as I'm building that stuff out, I can't have anything with lyrics, and I really can't even know what the music is. Otherwise, I start paying attention to it and singing along to it, or reminiscing about when I heard it again. So I know that we're both Spotify people from pretty much when the thing launched, but Spotify is getting rid of their third-party integration into Algorithm DJ.
No way.
Yeah. So what Algorithm is doing is they offered a 3-month free trial of Tidal, which is the rival streaming service for that, and it integrates the same way with DJ. I know we're going really inside baseball for you viewers, but this is me telling Chance that he's got to start looking at Tidal. I migrated all of the playlists from Spotify over to Tidal, and there's very little gap in between what one has and the other doesn't. So that worked out extremely well. So there's just as many user-generated playlists available on Tidal so I'll listen to acid jazz or 50s bebop jazz and just listen to that as I'm working. And then, I'll listen to Vanessa Peters, who is an amazing musician based out of Dallas, but she's been locked down in Italy this whole time.
Oh, wow.
She and her band are in a villa in Italy right now, and they're staying safe. They're wonderful, but they cannot come home because they're in one of the original hotspots, and there's a travel ban. So I'm listening to Vanessa Peters a lot. Guy named Blue, Bleu, who I heard about a decade ago. He was doing a Electric Light Orchestra tribute act called LEO. Really funny, but he's an amazing pop musician. I'm listening to a lot of him. Some guy named Chance Munsterman just came out with an album on all the streaming services, and I listen to that a lot, especially if I'm doing work around the house and I need that kind of motivational kick, because he's got this really good voice. I don't know if you know this about Chance, but he's kind of a big deal. So I just there's so much good music out there, and I try to get a new artist in my head at least once every couple of weeks.
That's pretty cool. I'm halfway to my bet with you. It's probably going It's probably going to roll over 50,000 tomorrow, so I'm kind of excited about that.
That's a milestone that I want to hit. I want to see that number go over.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty cool. Although Spotify is tricky because it goes in 30-day plays. So if you're an active listener for the first 30 days, then you're on. But right, so I think I hit a high at like 33,000 active listeners. Now it's like at like 15 because the first 30 days have passed. And now I'm in the second 30 days and it's taken a dip, but it's kind of moving back up. Whatever. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. I'm just so blessed that it's done what it's done, and I'm excited about it. But this Live at Chance's House thing is part of that. It's to promote new music and the other things I'm going to be doing and just having fun with it. So, and you've been a big inspiration for me on that as well, because it's given me insight and kind of something else to do. Of course, we've been in lockdown and doing the things that we're doing, but when I'm not doing music for myself, or I'm not promoting RDO, or I've got to have that creative aspect of my life, and I've really enjoyed doing this stuff, even though it's frustrating as hell.
I love the calls that I will get, a text message or whatever. Why is this not working? And then we, being your tech Sherpa, I wind up having that conversation with you, and I never mind it. It's always fun. I just know that it's a pain in the ass to you because it was a pain in the ass to me. So if I have to go through that pain, I would save you this pain if ever I can.
I appreciate it. All right, well, we're going to wrap things up, and I do want to touch on one thing that I know is near and dear to your heart, especially near and dear to mine, and it's the thing that we've been doing for the last 3 years and getting ready to come up to the next one that's coming up. So talk to me briefly about Who Needs Sleep.
I'll give you as nickel a tour of it as I can. It is a 36-hour online charity telethon. We raise money for a couple of different North Texas cancer fighting organizations. Cook Children's Fort Worth, the Lymphoma and Blastoma wards at that facility, and Cancer Support Community North Texas, which is a group that hosts campuses in Dallas, Plano, and Denton. It's everything that helps a cancer fighter other than the actual treatment. So it's rides to treatment, it's counseling, it's support and activities, and ways that you can fight cancer mentally as well as physically. And we alluded to it. This is not something that I never wanted to look like Vernon Wells from The Road Warrior. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. This is my third trip through the chemotherapy turnstiles currently. So it's extremely close to my heart. I know it's close to yours, Chance, and that's what I tell everyone. If you don't have a personal experience with cancer with either yourself or your family, look on your back porch, because it's coming. So I will always do whatever I can to help cancer fighters out there, no matter what. And being an advocate for the people who are doing the fighting, for the medical groups who are always pitched in that battle, keeping me alive, keeping Nick alive, keeping all of these ridiculous people who, through no fault of their own, are just one little strand of RNA from being completely healthy to under the gun all the time. So the 36-hour telethon is straight out of the book of the Jerry Lewis Labor Day telethons, where we have musical acts like RDO. I think, weren't we the first gig you guys did live?
We were. It was the first one. Yep.
It was amazing. And hearing Madak live is nuts, because that guy is just an absolute gem. And so, I mean, he's not exactly humble, because he knows he's a complete badass, but just seeing him and you boys work together is just amazing. And so and also Remy Riley, who closed out our 2019 telethon. She is a virtuoso, an amazing songwriter and guitarist. Look her up, Remyreilly. And by the way, she's a teenager. I like to leave that part as far down as possible, because you listen to her and you think this music is absolutely amazing. And she's got nothing but sky potential, seriously. So we have these great bands who will perform, stand-up comedians, panel discussions, and it's all for cancer fighters, no matter what the stripe. And I am looking forward to the 2020 telethon, because I think we've actually announced this. We are going to be broadcasting live from Music City Mall in Louisville.
Yep.
If we can ever get into the facility. We've already got the agreement with them. So locking down the venue means we can lock down everything else after that. And as we get closer, we can lock in the bands like Red Dirt Outlaws and all these other fantastic bands and musical acts and comedians and performers. It's a hell of a time, and it's brutal. It's 36 hours. Rob Irvin is the only Iron Man through all three of our previous telethons. This will be the fourth year that we've done it, and I can't wait.
He's brought that up. He's proud of that badge of honor.
He deserves that belt. He earned that belt.
All right, Devin. Hey, I appreciate you spending some time with me and doing a quick interview. And this will be probably one of many. I mean, I'm going to be doing this show at least once a week, and we'll have more topics, especially when we get a little bit closer to Who Needs Sleep. For more information on the 36-hour cancer telethon that is known as Who Needs Sleep, you can go check out whoneedsleep.org for more information. By the way, I've got my slot already set, so I'm ready to go because I like to get in early. It's like putting
you've been there all 4 years as well, and I can't wait to see you again.
It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so with that said, Devin, the final word is yours. Go.
Be kind to each other. It is, the world is on fire right now. We have to be kind to each other if we're going to make it through this. Run fast, laugh hard, be kind.
Couldn't have said it better. You guys, we're going to take a short break right after this, and I'm going to get up and play some tunes. This is live at Chance's house, brought to you by Joe's Tavern and Grill. Devin, thank you so much.
Booger.
We'll see you guys in a minute. Thanks.